Hi, everyone. Letting a couple more people join from the waiting room. Thanks for doing that, Jess. All right. We'll go ahead and get started. Hello, welcome everybody. Super excited to see all of these friendly faces here. Wanted to welcome everybody to our Teach United community update call. I'm Heather Heapsch. I'm the CEO and co-founder. Really happy to have you all here. We have some really exciting updates. We're going to do it super quick. Little bit of housekeeping. Make sure that you're checking the chat box. Our COO, Molly Hone, is going to be responding to your questions there. And if you have a specific questions, you can direct message Molly and she'll get back to you during the session, or we'll respond to you right after. Also, Jess is recording the webinar, so just know that that is happening and that we're going to send you that after the meeting. But yeah, just really wanted to open by saying we're super thrilled to have all of these happy faces here with us today, especially because we just returned from the United Nations General Assembly Week, and there was a really big focus there on collaborative networks. So especially to meet the Sustainable Development Goal number 4 for education. So, and as many of you know, partnerships really been a core value of Teach United since the very beginning. So we partner with other social impact organizations, we partner with other local NGOs, government systems, donors, and friends in the Teach United community, many of whom are here today. So it's really great to hear that communities like this one are being prioritized during that UN week. There was also a trend during that week, if you read any of the articles about it, about education kind of being a little bit deprioritized and there being less attention paid to it by media, policymakers, philanthropy. So we really appreciate everybody being here and advocating for our teachers and kids and being ambassadors for Teach United. All right, so let's get into it. Of course, we are going to start with a big thank you. So I love these calls because this group really does agree that, the kids and education and that really high quality instruction really does need to be prioritized because, a child with a poor education is going to be more likely to experience unemployment, homelessness, violence, suffer from preventable diseases. And that's what happens if we don't do this work. So the good news, though, is that we also know that every year a child completes school, especially with a high quality teacher, means higher earning potential, more likely to access healthcare, more likely to uplift their entire communities. So our session today is really going to focus on a lot of the successes we've seen in 2024, because Teach United is a program, as a team, as its donor community, everyone here on the call, we've had a really great year together. And so I'm excited to share that today. And we've really never been more, convinced that education is a basic human right and it impacts every other sector and all of the other sustainable development goals. We have an article about that coming out soon, by the way. And it just means that it's really worth fighting for. So again, appreciate this group. Okay, so our roadmap for today is in the next 25 minutes or so, we're going to take a look at the ed sector landscape. So that's going to be a quick view of education trends, education funding, education outcomes. Like I mentioned in the opening, while the United Nations we're a little bit lagging in reaching key academic goals, we've also been watching that lack of prioritization from philanthropy, but we're really hopeful that it's starting to shift as we go into 2025. We're also going to spend a little bit of time on program updates. So this is going to be our virtual site visits. It's my favorite part. And we're going to check in with our regional teams. We're going to hear from some of our leaders, some of our teachers in each region about how Teach United strategies are increasing foundational skills like math, literacy, preparing more kids to graduate, and helping teachers feel motivated and excited to stay in the profession, because we know that that's going to be a key indicator on student success as well. We'll dig into the numbers a little bit. We'll look at where we're headed on the scaling journey to reach as many kids as possible. Sneak peek, we have a super exciting data point to share with everybody today that's brand new as of about 2 or 3 days ago that I think is going to knock your socks off. And then we'll look on the horizon. That's going to be a quick overview of the work we still need to do. For example, we know 9 in 10 children in low-income countries still can't read without comprehension by the age of 10. And we're going to look at the impact that makes both domestically and globally. So we're going to tackle those 4 key points in the next 20 minutes, so we will jump right in. All right, education landscape. So fortunately, we are doing really great work to tackle those issues. So we're going to take a high-level view of the overall landscape now. So that driving force behind TeachUNITED's mission and this team's continued dedication, and hi to the global team that's on the call right now, it really comes down to the fact that we still have a really severe learning gap and teacher shortages globally. So that's what TeachUNITED is tackling. And you can see in the data around foundational literacy and numeracy there on your slide. There's issues with completion rates, teacher turnover. So for example, in the US alone, 50,000 educators left the profession just last year. But in TeachUNITED schools, we're seeing double-digit growth on teacher retention. So huge issue and a huge celebration with our team. In sub-Saharan Africa, fewer than 1 in 10 kids are achieving foundational skills on time, which is by the equivalent of about 2nd grade. So you're going to hear from Angela, our Africa director, and she's going to talk more about this and why it's so important shortly. And then finally, in Latin America, gaps continue for girls and in some indigenous communities. Really proud of the work our team is doing there. So I'm excited you're going to get to hear from Armando and Jones. Because despite that clear need and that critical role of education in breaking cycles of poverty and fostering that economic growth, the education sector only receives about 10% of global funding. And then if you look at the rural communities, small schools, and the organizations working there, those are even more underfunded, below that kind of already low education average. So we're really hopeful that that we're seeing some changes and there's some renewed focus around the importance of funding rural, which is really important because the World Bank says that 43% of the world's population lives in a rural community. So if you're really talking about tackling that global systemic change, you can't really do that without 43% of the world's population. So we are excited. The small and rural schools, they often really work in isolation, and no single organization is going to reach them all. And they have so much to learn from one another. And so that's where networks, these partnership models, these intermediary organizations like TeachUNITED, that's where we play such a critical role, because we can catalyze those local leaders and support their ownership in the systems change process, but also connect them and enable them to share that learning across all of the regions. So for us at TeachUNITED, it's not local or global, it's local and global. And that's one of the things that we're really excited about this group coming in. And you've probably noticed already that you've got colleagues in this community on the call today from all over the world and a lot of different time zones. So thank you for everyone who is up both early and late in your day. So program and action, this is really exciting. So the key to all of those connections, everything, are the people leading the work, both in the education systems and our team here at TeachUNITED. So over the next few minutes, you're going to hear examples from specific programs in each region. We're going to visit Angela, she's our Director of Africa Programs, and we're going to hear specifically about the Elimu Soko program in Zanzibar. That was funded by the Hempel Foundation and in partnership with Axum. Then we're going to fly over to Mexico, and we'll hear from Armando and Jones on our team about a program serving Maya communities in Yucatan, Mexico. And primary funding for that is from the Kellogg Foundation, who we just signed this morning to expand on the project. So we're really grateful for that and their support continuing in that region. And then finally, from Mexico, we're going to fly north to New England, US, and we're going to hear from Director of Implementation, Monitoring, and Evaluation, Aaliyah, and she's going to share some programs that were funded by the New Hampshire Department of Education and increasing teacher retention there. So Jess is going to get that started for us, and I will join you back afterwards.
Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome from TeachUNITED Africa, Nairobi, Kenya. Your support has truly been transformational for students in Zanzibar, Tanzania. In the past year, in collaboration with our funders and the Zanzibar Ministry of Education, we have worked with more than 200 primary school teachers. These teachers are taking what they have learned from TeachUNITED coaches and are using it in their classrooms right away. That translates directly to student growth. The students of the teachers in this program are making huge improvements in foundational literacy and numeracy skills. These skills are the building blocks for future learning. What a child learns in 1 year is foundational for a more advanced topic later. If a student falls behind, that can cause learning gaps to accumulate, making it much harder for them to catch up. The types of gains you are seeing here in literacy and numeracy have exponential impact on that student, setting them on the trajectory for success, both in the classroom and in life. As you watch this clip from one of our primary school partners, listen to the way they talk about the positive changes they see in the school already and their calls to government and partners for the continuation of the project. These types of government partnerships are one of the most sustainable ways to scale impact and will not be possible without your continued support. Thank you.
We have reached the end of this fascinating experience at the Urafiki Primary School, where the second round data collection here in Zanzibar has been ended.
Asante, mimi ni msaidizi mwalimu mkuu, kwa jina naitwa Hafsa Jumaali, niko katika skuli ya Urafiki.
Sawa, mwalimu, unaweza kutuambia kuhusu mradi huu unapotekelezwa wa elimu soko, una faida gani kwa skuli hii ya Urafiki?
Kwa kweli kutokana na huu mradi walimu wamefaidika ambao wamekwenda, na pia nawapa mafunzo kidogo kidogo walimu wenzao. Naona unaendelea vizuri na wanafunzi pia wanashajika vyema.
Sawa, na umeanza kuona mabadiliko gani labda kwa wanafunzi pamoja na walimu wenzako?
Nimeona mabadiliko wakati wa kufundisha walimu. Wanafunzi wanafurahia sana somo, alafu na wanafunzi wako tayari zaidi kuliko pale walikuwa hajapata mafunzo.
Unaitwa nani?
Kwa jina naitwa Madam Salma Rashid Mohamed kutoka skuli ya Urafiki, na mimi ni mmoja kati ya walimu ambao wapo katika kujifunza hii elimu soko.
Sawa. Na kwa sasa hivi ambapo mradi unatekelezwa, umeupokeaje mradi?
Kwa kweli mradi tumeupokea kwa vizuri, kwa sababu tumepata kujifunza mambo mengi ambayo hapo mwanzo tulikuwa hatujafikia. Kwa hiyo sasa hivi tumezidi kupiga hatua kwenda mbele.
Sawa. Na ushauri gani ambao kama TeachUNITED ambao wanatekeleza mradi huu elimu soko hapa Zanzibar na serikali ya Zanzibar kupitia Wizara ya Elimu unaweza kuwapatia kuhusu mradi huu?
Kwa kweli mimi naiomba serikali kwa kupitia Wizara ya Elimu izidi kuboresha haya mafunzo, yazidi kuja tena na tena, ili wale ambao bado hawajapata haya mafunzo na wao wapate kuyapata, ili wazidi kukuza ule ufundishaji, mbinu na ufuatiliaji wa wanafunzi ambao wako katika kiwango cha chini.
Asante.
Hello everyone, and warm greeting from Sarapiquí, Costa Rica, representing TeachUNITED Latin America. In Yucatan, Mexico, your support has already helped change the future of more than 775 students by keeping them in school. Each extra year of education increases their yearly income by 10%, which is a big help for both the students and their families. In Mexico, where many children have lost access to formal education in the last decade, keeping kids in school is more important than ever, not just for them, but for their entire communities. With an impressive 98% pass rate, the long-term impact is clear. More students will graduate, find better jobs, and help break the cycle of poverty.
This year, we were also honored to work with teachers from Yaxcabá, home to many indigenous Maya communities. These children face big challenges like high illiteracy rates and low high school completion. In the attached interview, a local teacher shared his passion for helping his students. sparking their curiosity, motivation them to attend school every day, and encourage them to dream big. This shift in mindset has empowered the students like never before. Let's work together to keep transforming the future of the next generation.
Es bueno para ellos. Entonces, TeachUNITED me está apoyando con esta parte de cosas nuevas, innovar, estrategias, herramientas nuevas, que sinceramente yo no conocía la mayoría de las que ya trabajó con nosotros, pero me llama mucho la atención y he estado pensando cómo utilizarlo con los chiquititos. El ser maestro, el ser docente, me abre la oportunidad de como que de expresar, expresar a mi manera el cómo a mí me hubiera gustado que me dieran clases. Y mis expectativas con el taller, o sea, con el curso, es generar, por ejemplo, en los niños esa curiosidad por manejar cosas nuevas, por aprender de una nueva manera. Sí, ahora ya están aprendiendo, que reaprendan las cosas, pero a su modo, a su manera. Yo tengo como que una meta de que mi trabajo aquí pues marque. Ya lo hice con un grupo que acabo de dejar y por eso les decía, las mamás vienen con unas expectativas muy marcadas conmigo, de que sí les exijo mucho a los niños, pero luego se ve la retribución de ellos conmigo y de los papás conmigo. Entonces, esa parte de generar expectativas grandes, soñar en grande, yo siento que ahí voy, de generar cosas nuevas con los niños, el que digan, hoy se voy a ir a la escuela. O sea, que se levanten y dicen, ¿vas a ir a la escuela? Sí quiero ir. No que se levanten desganados, no, generarle ya la iniciativa al niño de que quiera estar, de que quiera permanecer en la escuela. Porque Yaxcabá tiene un alto índice de deserción escolar. Y así se hace que toda la escuela ya tenga una nueva visión de cómo trabajar con ellos.
Hi, everyone. Welcome from Massachusetts here in the United States. Your support of TeachUNITED is improving teacher skills, morale, and retention across rural New Hampshire. With challenges like constant turnover, burnout, an aging workforce, and lower pay relative to other professions, investing in quality teachers is so important to keeping them happy and successful in their classrooms. Through a partnership with the New Hampshire Department of Education, nearly 10,000 educators have been impacted by the TU program. Our schools saw a 12% increase in year-over-year teacher retention, and our educators are feeling empowered with new classroom management skills and instructional techniques. At the end of last school year, we had a chance to talk to both the principal and one of the elementary teachers from Henry W. Moore School in Candia, New Hampshire. To hear this passionate, engaged partner educator say, "I had a really difficult year last year, and I didn't know if I could do it again," is sobering. We're proud to share that with your support, we were able to help that teacher reconnect with her purpose and keep her motivated to stay in the classroom. Listen to how they describe the changes they've seen within the school, thanks to help from the TU program and our instructional coaches.
Do you feel like you're enjoying teaching more after
Oh my gosh,
participating?
yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I was trying to figure out how I could say this in like a really like professional, polite way. Last year I had a very challenging class, challenging year, challenging everything. But I was kind of on that edge in year 4. I was like, I don't know if I can do this forever. Like, this is a really low point in my career. And I literally was like, this changed everything for me. And it just has rejuvenated. I have all these, like, I feel like I for the first time, feel like I owe it to myself to like take everything that I've learned and like go forward and see what else I can do. So, which I would not have had without this program and Megan and everybody.
From those teachers who are participating in this, it's just a different energy, I guess, when you walk into their classrooms. And I think, the way that Hannah described that's really what I'm feeling, I think, in all of those classrooms. And the students feel it too. They know, they can feel that, they didn't necessarily have, well, although in one case they had that same teacher the year before. And I think that the students who are having the teacher for a second year are seeing a difference. And I think that they are more engaged in what is happening in the classroom. And that's a middle school classroom. So yeah, I think I would describe it as just a different energy.
All right, thank you. Yeah, like she said, it's just a different energy. And I know we have educators here with us today, and it really energizes us to hear directly from you. I like that she pointed out that it was also a middle school classroom. If anyone's ever taught or led in a middle school, that's a special population. So really appreciate sharing those stories. And also huge thanks to our regional leaders who are really making an impact in your field and in your communities. So those are the stories that really fuel our passion for this work. And it's really motivating. I'm glad you got to hear from some of them today, because one of the core commitments for Teach United is that we focus both on the people and the impact data. So I really want to thank our Teach United teams for sharing both those stories, but also the student outcomes in your interview. So we're going to shift gears just a little bit and dive into the data for a brief impact update. So we're excited to build on that momentum, continue driving success. So on the next slide then, so as many of you know, last year we proudly announced our programs had officially reached over 30,000 teachers and 1 million children. And we really had a focus on government partners, some of which their regional teams just talked about there. We were able to grow those numbers massively in 2024 while still maintaining high fidelity and impact. So this community call, this group, you're the first to hear our big announcement that Teach United programs have now officially reached 46,000 educators and 2 million children globally. For some of you that have been with us for a while, you'll know that is double our original goal for the year 2030. So double our original goal for the year 2030, and we've reached that now. So how did we do it? Teach United scaling model is both global, regional, and local. So we root the program in global research. We connect to regional networks of school systems and implementation partners, and then we build the capacity of local educators and school leaders so that they own the program moving forward. That's our scaling plan, and that's what we've been doing for the last 8.5 years. Because the message from both the United Nations as well as our own kind of internal and external data analysis is that it's really validating that model and what we're doing together. And we've just really been able to reach those kids with high impact. Because you've heard me say it a million times, reach is only a celebration if you can also show impact. So the reason why reaching 2 million kids is such a celebration is because our lab site studies continue to show massive improvements in math, literacy skills, graduation preparedness, and even teacher retention across all TU regions. And if we didn't have numbers like that, I mean, reach is just participation. So it's reach plus impact. That's where it gets really exciting. So that's where we ask you to keep an eye out, for our quarterly newsletters, impact report updates. That's where we share a lot of those details, including some of the outcomes you just heard from the team regarding that academic growth, teacher satisfaction, retention, and girls' promotion rates. That's been a really exciting data point for us as well. We also have region-specific impact briefs. I know some of you on the call are more interested in maybe the domestic US work, or just the work in Latin America, or just the work in Sub-Saharan Africa, or even East Africa. And so we have those regional-specific impact briefs to share with you as well. Because you can see on the map there on the slide, this really is a global network of local leaders, and you can see all the places where teachers are developing into those instructional coaches, and all the places where kids are getting those foundational skills for graduation. So on the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about how we keep that mission to change the lives of as many teachers and students as possible, how we keep that mission going. And that's where a lot of you on this call have really supported the work, either as partners or donors. So we'll do a quick update on financials. As I mentioned earlier in the call, there's a really concerning gap between the goals in education and the current state of education funding and philanthropy. So we're seeing a strong pullback in some markets and some geographic regions. But we're going into 2025, we're starting to see some increase in opportunities and market fit in other spaces. So we are taking a deep look at the market, our product roadmap, strategic planning to make sure we're staying in front of those challenges. And more importantly, they were able to continue delivering high impact programs and building the capacity of our partner region. So just wanted to send a quick thank you. I'm looking at some of the faces now. Or quick thank you to our leadership team, board of directors, our advisors, many of whom are here today for doing that deep strategic work with us. And since I mentioned at Teach United, we value both reach and impact. We feel like there's a really great opportunity for communities like this one on the call to take the lead in 2025. So for our funding, you can see that philanthropy makes up about 70% of our current income. We also have a growing revenue model. And while that hybrid income model works well, I always remind folks that we're always going to need philanthropic underwriting, because if we only operate in districts that can afford to pay for our program, we're not really on mission to break cycles of poverty. So challenging everyone in this group to help increase our impact and reach another 1 million children by 2027. And the way we can do that, we'll talk about a couple of those, but there's 3 or 4 ways that just the folks on this call can help. One is to start or renew a 3-year pledge. We'll talk about why multi-year giving is so important for having more money go to programs. If you're already a donor, thank you. And also consider making an additional impact gift to accelerate our reach. The third thing you can do is you can invite some colleagues, invite 2 friends to update calls like this one, or invite 2 friends to match your gift during like an end of year holiday giving campaign. We have a goal to fully fund an entire district off of our wait list just from our holiday campaign. And then, the last thing is you can also invite colleagues, invite 3 friends just to learn more about us and connect with us. That's how we're going to reach the next 1 million kids. All right, so on the horizon, and what's coming next? So what's coming next is that I want every school and every NGO partner on that wait list I just mentioned, I want them off the wait list. We want to be able to serve all of them. We have an enormous opportunity. And to do that, we're focusing on these 3 organizational priorities in 2025. Looks really similar to 2024. Depth of scale. So we're trying to expand our regional hubs, expanding our virtual partnerships, and expand some of our monitoring and evaluation. That's our second priority there. Impact. We know our programs are improving learning for students and keeping great teachers in the profession. So we really want to continue investing in our data processes. So that includes a larger external evaluation of our outcomes to come. And the third thing is fundraising and advocacy. We really want to make sure we can actually operate all of these great programs. So again, please share Teach United's work with others and consider those multi-year pledges. And since tomorrow is November 1st, which is crazy, one great way to get involved is our holiday giving campaign. So your generosity now, what that does is that helps us leverage it for matching gifts. So giving now really helps us set us up for success in the future, because as you may have noticed, we have really ambitious goals for the future. So with that, we are almost at time. That is a whole lot to get through. If you're interested in learning more about just intermediary organizations and field catalysts, check out some really great articles from both Bridgespan and RippleWorks. I'd encourage you to take a look there. So 2 more quick announcements, and then we'll let you go. Giant thanks. Your time, your financial support, your partnership, your mental health camaraderie in this work. It really does energize us to move the mission forward. So we really appreciate that. You're going to receive a recording today. And finally, I want to extend a very special welcome to Diego Adem, who's joining our board of directors, and also a giant thank you to some important people. Robin Mendelson and Julian Ferrier completing their terms on our board of directors, and they have made huge impact over the last several years on our strategic plans, our operating plans, our fundraising efforts. And I just wanted to really thank our board for the support. And finally, a giant thanks to Jess Heitner on our leadership team. We are going to miss you terribly, but we are really excited for your adventure and super happy to continue calling everyone on this call partners in the Teach United community. So on behalf of the entire Teach United team and our global school network, thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of our community. Thank you for having your videos on and seeing all of these lovely faces. That's pretty great. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.